welcome to the online course of Green Chemistry by Careers. And today we are going to have a session on green chemistry. So first I would like to introduce myself. So I am Corey from Shivnadis School in grade 10. So let's start with the session. So what is green chemistry, or what do you think green chemistry is about? So green chemistry looks at pollution prevention. Green chemistry reduces, or if I say eliminates, the generation of hazardous substances. So we can say that green chemistry is about like reducing waste, materials, risk, energy, cost. So what do you think? Why do we need green chemistry? So the chemical industry is producing a lot of things which we use in our daily lives. And the problem with them is that the ingredients they use are not totally safe for us. So that's where green chemistry comes in and cleans the manufacturing process to ensure a safer environment. Green chemistry is better because our world is already so polluted. So as humans are exposed to many bad chemicals daily. So green chemistry helps us to save us from those chemicals, to improve our health as well as the environment health. So today we are going to study about the 4 topics. First is the current impact and scale of the chemical industry. Second is the upsides and the downsides of the industry. Third is the game time, and then the fourth is the principles of green chemistry. So first is current impact of chemical industry. So where all do you think chemistry is involved around us? So products created by chemicals industry have an effect on number of areas like such as agriculture, hygiene, food, painting, etc. It synthesizes crop enhancing agriculture chemicals to ensure constant and food supply. Over the years, chemical industry has been a vital sector of the modern industrialized economy. So now we subdivide this into 2 parts, agriculture and environment. So first is on impact on agriculture. So chemistry has traditionally been viewed as a scientific tool that could harness natural resources to enhance our lives. The focus is shifting to the development of less toxic chemical products with specific functional properties, and the chemical industry has brought its expertise, industries, capital investment into action for solving environmental problems for over 50 years. Now, impact on environment. So, yeah. Chemistry has traditionally been viewed as a scientific tool that could harness natural resources to enhance our lives. The focus is shifting to the development of less toxic chemical products with. Okay, wait, ma'am. I have done something wrong. And the impact on agriculture. So now we go to the impact on agriculture. So chemical companies contribute to the development of sustainable crops, producing slow release fertilizers that plants can use more efficiently. Many chemical companies have also developed crops that are drought tolerant or pesticide resistant, and these properties reduce environmental impact by allowing no-till farming, other green practices. Now the upsides and the downsides of the industry. So we divide the upsides into 3 subtopics: human health, environment, and economic. So in the human health, we have cleaner air as like less release of hazardous chemicals to air, leading to less damage to lungs. And if we say about the safety for workers, less use of toxic materials, then less personal protective equipment required, and then less potential for accidents. Now the environment. So plants and animals suffer less harm from toxic chemicals, low potential for global warming, ozone depletion, and smoke formation, and many more. Now the economy one. So reduced waste leads to eliminating costly remediations, hazardous waste disposal, and end of the pipe treatments. Then reduced manufacturing plant size or footprint through increased throughput, and many more. Some of the drawbacks we can say is air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution. Now the 12th. So I would like to hand over to Dilshin ma'am. She will be explaining the 12 principles of green chemistry.
Thank you so much, Gauri. Can you let me share screen now? Right, great. So moving on, we just talked about, Gauri took us through the different aspects of the chemical industry. What are good things that the chemical industry is bringing to our resource pool? How in agriculture, on the environment, or on our economy, what are on human health, how the chemical industry is impacting us positively. But then or everything also has a downside, and the chemical industry will have a lot of toxic waste, will have a lot of toxic chemicals that it involves in order to uh, give us the products that we use every day. Now, in order to transition from processes that are highly energy intensive and pollute the environment, we are moving towards a greener approach of practicing chemistry, and that is simply known as green chemistry. Uh, Green chemistry is governed by 12 principles, and they are on your screen right now. We will deep dive into some of these, which are easier to understand at our level right now, through a very short activity. Okay, so what I would really like you to do is the name of the activity is scavenger hunt. I will call out the name of one object, and you will have 30 seconds to go fetch that object from anywhere. If it is present at home, you can go and get up and bring that object, and then we will discuss something about the chemistry of that particular object and how green chemistry is either involved in the production of it, or green chemistry is helping us to improve the production of a particular uh, any product that I will be calling. Okay. All right. So the first product is nail polish. You have 30 seconds to quickly move from your desk, from your chair, wherever you're sitting on your bed. Just move around, and if you have nail polish at home, bring it and show it on the camera so that we can discuss a little more about it. We'll just have everyone join. All right, I think most of us are back. And Mihir is not back. Rest others here. Adi also, yeah, Mihir is back. Ayana, Daksh, Adya, and Aditya, Angad. Pranil is also back. All right, okay. And Satvir is also back. All right, great. So, yes, so we paused at, okay, talking about nail paint and so my question was, is there something problematic with the chemical involved in nail paint or anything of anything that you're aware of? So, Ayana and Mihir had raised hands. Yes, go ahead, Ayana.
So most of the times the nail polish are like very expensive, and the like box is super tiny too. So it would be like a really big waste of money. And yeah.
Okay, so you're saying it's quite expensive and it's a tiny bottle. Okay, interesting. Thank you for sharing, Anna. All right, Mihir, go ahead. You want to share your thought?
So like it can be like sometimes poisonous also. Like when we like eat food, we also put our nails in the mouth, and it can like harm our body also.
All right, interesting. Thank you, Mihir. Also, so one very easy way to identify that is the moment if you, okay, how, if you open a bottle of nail paint and your eyes are closed, how can you still identify that it's nail paint? How do you identify that? It's very easy. How do you do that?
Ma'am, maybe because of the smell. Maybe.
Okay. Adi says because of smell. Ayana, similar answer?
Yeah, because the smell is really strong.
All right. The smell is really strong. Great. So we have two things. One that Mihir just shared with us, that, you know, when we're consuming food, for example, some of the particles of the nail paint can actually go inside our mouth, right? And another thing is the fact that there is a very particular smell of the nail paint with which we can identify it. So right now, most of the chemicals that are used in preparation of nail paint are largely the larger chemicals are toluene, formaldehyde, some phthalates. So we might not know these names. It's absolutely fine, but they are actually used for, let's say, good adherence. So they stick to the nails very well, so that the nail paint can stick to the nails. That is one property that these molecules end up bringing to the nail paint. Or they also they reduce chipping of nails, so nails won't break if you apply a particular nail paint. But what happens in the process is, okay, these are good things, but in the process of it, toluene and formaldehyde can actually be absorbed through the skin. All right, so if some amount of it is actually goes on the skin, it can be absorbed through the skin very easily. And they're known carcinogenics. They can cause cancer. If they are consumed with food, obviously they're directly going inside the body. And also, if we inhale those chemicals for a longer period of time, we're also looking at a lot of respiratory disorders that they can cause. All right, so right, these are a few problems with nail paint. So a few companies, like there is Acryla, which is a nail paint company which is looking at greener alternatives. You can actually note down this name and look at how they are preparing nail paint, and why is it safer to use as against any other company. Or you can also search for nail paint companies that are producing safer chemicals, right? Safer chemicals as a nail paint. So you can note down this name, or probably look at other brands as well on what they are doing with what they are selling in the market. All right, great. We'll move to the next product, coffee. If you have a sachet of coffee, bottle of coffee, quickly run and get it. Quickly. Yes, I can see me here gone up, and I already have it. It's almost.
So can I drink coffee in a
Sidhvir, you're saying something? Okay. All right. I think the others, coffee is more common to have in most households. I mean, some of you might have it. Okay, Mihir, I think, is back with it. Great, thank you. And Ayana is still on. The others don't have their videos on.
Ma'am, me and you have the same coffee.
Oh, all right, great. Yes, but I think we have a different variety of it. I have the granules and you probably have the beaten coffee, right?
Espresso 57.
Right. Okay. Oh, it's the same one. It's the same one. Yes. Mine is almost exhausted. Yes. Great. Thank you, Sidhvir. And I think all right. Ayana has also got it. Great. And Mihir also got it. And so did Adi. Great. Thank you so much. All right. Okay. So my question to you regarding coffee is, how do you think coffee is obtained? How does it finally reach this stage? Where is it obtained from? How does it get to here inside the bottle?
So ma'am, coffee is basically something that we get from trees.
Okay.
Coffee beans. In exact, it's coffee beans, and
It's grown.
yeah,
Okay.
it's the coffee beans are grown, and yeah, they do boost a lot of energy, and they boost energy since the self-defense mechanism of coffee beans, it's the plants, they actually disperse caffeine, but that caffeine does not harm us, it actually increases our boost. But one downside is that coffee also acts as a laxative, so it will also make you want to poop more.
All right, great. Thank you so much for sharing that bit of information, Daksh. So we know that coffee is obtained, as Siddhi also stated, it's obtained from the coffee plant, and then coffee beans are finally roasted, grained, and in the product form that we have here. And Daksh also went on to explain how coffee contains caffeine, which can increase metabolism, but it also acts as a laxative. All right, great. Thank you, Daksh. Yes, Mihir, go ahead.
And coffee beans are like also grown in South India.
All right, great. Thank you for adding that fact there. Most commonly, like a large production of coffee happens in southern parts of India. Great, thank you for sharing. Okay, now that we know where coffee is obtained from and how it gets in the bottles that most of us are holding, um, how do you think? Okay, so okay, Daksh mentioned this term called caffeine, right? Uh, how many of us have heard this? Can you just give me a raise of hand if you've heard what caffeine is, or even just heard the word, even if you don't know what it is? Okay, Ayana has raised her hand. Daksh, Angad. All right, Mihir has also raised her hand. All right, Aditya. All right, great. So has Pranil. Okay, anyone wants to share? What have you heard about caffeine? What does it do? How is it helpful? Anyone can go ahead and share. Angad, do you want to take a shot?
Yes, ma'am. So caffeine, as what I know of, is found in coffee beans, as explained by I think Daksh, and it is also a chemical which whose excess is not good for the body, and it also keeps us awake.
Okay. All right. So it's not very good for the body if it's consumed in a large quantity. All right. Anyone wants to add
Yeah.
something to that? Um, Aditya, do you want to add something to that?
No, ma'am. Just the same that it helps us stay awake and it's not great if we consume it in an excess quantity.
All right. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Daksh,
It's
Mihir.
also not very great to, yes, as we said, it is not great to consume it in excess quantity. I mean, as well as it's not. So basically, there can be an incident since we learned that caffeine also increases metabolism. Coffee also increases metabolism and also acts as a laxative. Ingesting a lot of it before something important like a meeting or an exam can cause you to want to go to the toilet more.
Yeah. Yes. Agree.
And not to say that sometimes it's not that good to go an entire night.
Hi, mom. Okay, Anita.
I have some technical problem. I'm not able to listen the whole thing. I'm
Sure.
joining with a different gadget. So please
Sure,
let me in.
Sure, ma'am. I will do
Thank
that. Right. So as okay, that's for sharing how you could sometimes just have a shot of coffee before an important meeting, or let's say before an examination. But if we would have to, since it's a laxative, we would also have the urge to urinate more after having it. All right, great. Thank you for sharing that. Daksh, Pranil, you want to add something?
Yes, ma'am. So like I would like to emphasize more on the benefits of caffeine. So like one thing I know is that if you're ever feeling sleepy or something, coffee does the trick.
Yeah.
And it makes you more physically and mentally alert. So yeah, that's one
Okay.
good.
Great. Thank you, Pranil. Did you have your hand up from before, or do you want to share something else? You can go ahead. You want to add something different here?
It is like harmful for our body because it like mixes with our blood, and it also like increases our heartbeat, which makes us like energetic.
Great. Thank you for sharing that point. And in fact, I'll share a personal anecdote. Very recently, I was quite tired at the end of the school day, and I thought just before leaving school, I thought that okay, I had a cup of very strong coffee, and the fact that Meir said, okay, it my heart was racing by the time I reached home, and it was so difficult for me to concentrate for a very long time. It took me a couple of hours to actually get back to my normal self. It does increase energy if you're supposed to be working after that. It does, give you that kick and lets you work for a longer duration. All right. Okay. Thank you for sharing that, Mihir. Sidvi, last thoughts, and then we'll move on.
So actually, caffeine is very dangerous for health, as it caused severe. It has several cancer chances. I read it in a book somewhere, and it's too toxic for children. So
Yeah.
it has this. It has a chemical. It's a very
Caffeine.
complicated name. Not
Caffeine.
caffeine. It's
Okay. Another
caffeine
chemical.
has another chemical in
Okay.
it. So it has a very complicated name. I didn't remember it. So that decreases kids' immunity, and it makes them feel ill at every moment.
All right. Thank you for adding that fact there, Sidhir. And I'm really happy to know that all of you are such aware young adults, children. Okay. So we'll just quickly. So you said that caffeine is not necessarily very good. Largely, that was a trend, right? So have you heard of decaffeinated coffee? Has anyone heard of
Yes, ma'am.
decaffeinated coffee? All right. Adi said a very nice, immediate yes. Do you want to share what do you think is decaffeinated coffee? Just by the name, what could be that?
So as we already know by now that caffeine is actually dangerous for our health. So coffee companies are taking out the caffeine from coffee so that people actually buy it.
All right. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Adi, for sharing that. So we know that caffeine is dangerous. Coffee companies are extracting caffeine out of coffee and still selling the coffee so that, you're still consuming coffee, but it's minus the caffeine. All right. So basically, before in the nail paint example, we were discussing about one of the green chemistry principles where we were talking about, safer chemicals which are used for production, right? So now in this process of decaffeination, what happens is so let's say if I have a mixture, I have to remove one of the components from it. What I usually do, a physical process done is I pour a solvent or I pour a liquid, right? That particular component dissolves in the solvent or that particular liquid and then is separated out, and I get the rest of the part that is useful to me. Right? So that's how separation of substances one of the methods in which it can be done. So usually one of the most common chemicals that was used for decaffeination for about 70, 80 years was it was dichloromethane. Sorry, I forgot to check my notebook. So it was dichloromethane, and again, it's a very harmful chemical, known carcinogenic, um, which ultimately, even though we're not consuming it, because anyway, caffeine with the dichloromethane is getting removed, but we are actually, if that goes into the environment as waste, that will harm, and ultimately, if it goes into water, ultimately we're drinking that water, so it's again harmful. So instead of that, there have been safer methods or safer solvents, one of them being water, very easily available, which has been used for the decaffeination process. Okay, so you can read a little bit more about it on how decaffeination takes place and how green chemistry principles are applied. So this is one of the second principles, which is about using safer solvents. Okay, let's quickly move to the next example, which is a biodegradable product. You have something around you that you think is biodegradable. Okay. I can see me calling out to someone and asking them to bring. You actually have to get up and bring it for yourself. Okay. Anyone else who is looking for something that's biodegradable? If you think that is biodegradable, I for one have this.
Biodegradable basically is like stuff which can degrade in the ground, as in can be broken down by nature. So let's say a banana peel to a plastic bottle. So plastic bottle is non-biodegradable, means it cannot easily be degraded by the environment and absorbed. But the thing like a banana peel is biodegradable, so it can be absorbed by the environment and provide nutrients.
Yeah. All right, great. Thank you so much for sharing that, Daksh, and for giving us an example to distinguish between something that's biodegradable and not biodegradable. Did someone bring something on which is biodegradable? Okay, Mihir has something. What's that? Is that a potato?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, sweet, great. All right, Ayana is still not in the frame, so I think she's going to fetch something. Anyone else who's got? So I for one have this wooden properties, so wood is also something that does degrade in the environment. Okay. As that, I mean, my next question was actually, okay, Ayana has brought back something. Do you want to share it, Ayana, on the camera?
Yeah, actually, this is a compostable garbage bag, and it's written over here that it is not plastic.
All right.
And
Okay.
it
Great.
has a lot of plant symbols.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing, Anna. And the fact, I mean, compostable bags have become more popular now with a nationwide ban on plastic bags. So great that you brought that, Anna. So a biodegradable product, my next question was for you to, actually share what is biodegradable and non-biodegradable. But I think Daksh has already done that for us. Something that degrades or breakdowns in the soil and the environment is biodegradable. Something that does not is non-biodegradable. Okay, so now how does so one of the next principles of green chemistry is known as design for degradation. Okay, I'll put it on the chat as well. What do you understand by that? It's called design for degradation. What do you understand by that? This is the next. Anyone can share their thoughts on what do you think that means? Have one. Yes, Angad, go ahead.
So design for degradation might mean that we are modifying the properties of a product to make it degradable. Like for example, the bags, the plastic bags and all, which we're making degradable. So we're basically adding those things in the material to make it, or degrade.
Okay, great. So we're changing or improving the design in a manner that that particular item degrades. Great. Thank you for sharing, Anga. Then I think Mihir also put on the chat that breaking down is degradation. Absolutely correct. And then when we're talking of biodegradation, Mihir, we're looking at something breaking down in the environment. Okay. All right. So design for degradation, Angad, I think has already shared with us. So it's a green chemistry principle and it looks at, okay, when you look at anything that is produced naturally, like let's say anything that is a plant, anything that is living, or even things that are non-living in nature, all of them are biodegradable. So nature functions in a circular manner. Okay, there is an existence of something. Let's say if it's a living thing, for example, it will exist, and once it dies, it can also degrade and then provide further minerals, nutrients into the soil. Right. So that's one way to look at it. Even if we produce something from a natural source, let's say this particular object is produced from wood, sourced naturally from trees. So again, if I put this in the soil, this will ultimately degrade. So anything that is designed from in nature will complete that cycle and degrade, and then also get converted into other forms, right? We know that matter is never destroyed. So it will take up another form even after degradation. So what green chemistry looks at, consciously designing products that can ultimately be degraded. So I'm putting a term here which I'm very fond of and I do read a lot about. It's known as biomimicry. I would love for you to actually, go ahead and learn about it, on how we're trying to now mimic designs which are, so we can look at the chemical aspect of biomimicry or even biomimicry in general. So when we look at the chemistry aspect of biomimicry, we are trying to produce chemicals or products which can ultimately degrade, because we are mimicking what is biologically or environmentally friendly. We're looking at environmental designs, we're mimicking them or we're copying them and then producing a product. So that's how design for degradation happens. Are we following? Yes, no? Yes, Adi, go ahead.
Ma'am, so can you give any examples of objects that we can biomimic?
Okay, so it's a fairly it's a very old idea, now gaining a lot of potential now that we're looking at sustainability. and a lot of potential and traction right now. So even the fact that, okay, Adi, tell me, where is the design of an aeroplane inspired from?
Maybe birds.
Birds, right? So,
Okay,
and,
that's
right?
by
So that's biomimicry. We're copying a design from nature. If you look at, let's say, the chemical aspect of it, you must have learned, like you must have learned last year, right? There's
yes, ma'am.
When we look at the leaves of a lotus plant, okay, what happens usually? Like, are they there's inside water, but are they soaking wet? Are leaves of
Yeah.
are they always like soaking wet, or are they mostly like, the water droplets can fall off the leaves eventually?
Yes,
What do you
ma'am.
think happens? What do you think happens? Like do the leaves get wet when, or any leaves, not just lotus plants, do the leaves of any plant get wet or drenched just like our clothes?
No, ma'am.
Why does that happen?
Ma'am, maybe because they have a waxy like layer on their leaves.
Yes, absolutely. So now if I am looking at designing a product that is waterproof, I can get inspired from chemicals that a plant is using to synthesize that waxy
Make
coating.
waterproof objects.
Yes, to make waterproof coatings or waterproof objects, right? So I can look at designing a product which has chemicals exactly the same or similar to the ones that plants are using, so that ultimately my product will also degrade when it's no longer in use. Yeah, did I make myself clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, all right. There's something on the chat. All right. Thank you, Yeah, all right. Yeah, thank you, ma'am. All right. So next principle is design for degradation. We'll quickly go over the last two that we had to discuss. The next product that, I mean, I don't know if people would have it at home, but some of you might. It's a soy-based product. Soy-based, soy milk or tofu or soya chunks, anything that you have at home. If you have them, you can bring them. I, for one, have a box of soya chunks, so I have them here. If you have something based out of soy, you can bring it and, share your experience of using it. Okay. Mihir has gone to fetch something. We'll just wait for a little while to have him back. The others also, I hope you're looking for something, or even if just as oh yes, me and I have the same pack. Lovely. All right, thank you. All right, so have you heard of soy-based products? Why are they useful? In what context have you heard of them? Anything that you know about them? Like, yes, Mihir, go ahead.
Like they are more nutritious.
Okay, they're quite nutritious. Or any particular nutrient that you know they're particularly rich in?
Protein?
Protein.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem, ma'am. Yes, absolutely. They're quite rich in protein. Thank you for sharing. All right, I think Adi also shared proteins as well. All right, okay. So now, and they're also used. I mean, they're a lot of people who are turning vegan, or even people who are not vegan but are vegetarians. This is a great source of protein if they don't consume non-vegetarian food. So again, soy is a very good source like that. So if you look at it, it's a green replacement for a variety of materials. Okay, we're not because soy is a plant-based product. Okay, so we're looking at it replacing other protein sources which might be very energy intensive to prepare. Let's say we're looking at its production against the production of meat. Okay, you can look at the statistics. It's the poultry industry or the meat industry is one of the highest polluting industries in the world. When like it's one of the top 3, 4 most polluting industries. So if we look at an alternative which would provide the same amount of nutrition but not uh, cause the same amount of pollution during its production stage. So that's also one of the principles of green chemistry, of using products that do not involve energy intensive processes. Okay, we'll quickly move on to the last one. Does
Ma'am, I
anyone
have
have
a
any
doubt here.
questions here? Please go ahead, Adi.
Ma'am, so Nutrella counts as soy-based product only, right?
Yeah, it's prepared from the source, from the plant source.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. And then soy milk is also that, and then tofu is based again from soy.
Okay, ma'am.
Even the soy sauce that usually is consumed in
Yeah.
Chinese food, that is also plant based there.
Oh, okay, ma'am.
All right. Okay. Moving on to the last one, detergent. I'm not endorsing any of these brands, but you can bring, if you have detergent around you. I have a detergent bar. The powder was in another bottle, so I have the detergent bar here. Yeah. And if, okay, I can see, Mihir is, I love the enthusiasm with which Mihir is operating. The moment I say, an object, he quickly runs and gets it. Love that. Okay, by the time we have Mihir come back, the others can be thinking on the first question I asked with nail polish. Any problem with detergents? Is there any problem with detergents, with using detergents? We have
Ma'am,
Mihir is back. Great. Thank you, Mihir, for showing that. Yes, Adi, go ahead.
ma'am, the water in which the detergent is going can end up in rivers and pollute them.
Beautiful. Great. Thank you for
I
sharing.
mean,
Adi.
where else will it go? Because it is part of sewage water only.
Yes, absolutely. Great. So the water which has the detergent ultimately goes to the rivers and pollutes it. All right, great. Anga, do you want to add something to
Excuse me,
that?
ma'am.
Yes, Sidhvir, go ahead.
Ma'am, there are different types of detergents. So one is the one with the one which is the old fashioned. So in the old fashioned, they used to make it through very harmful substances which could even make the clothes weak. So so they complained about that, and then in the 21st century they came out with a more stronger and more that worked as a clean agent detergent, and they didn't call it detergent. They gave a new name because they gave the company's name, not they didn't call it like detergent, use detergent. So now there are different detergents called Wheel, Tide, Surf Excel, Ariel, and all that. So yeah, how it's the how everything has evolved, including detergent. So to minor things have evolved and made and it has been better. So in Spain, there was a recent discovery of detergents which is completely made of nectar, and it was tested, and even 100-year-old sweater was now fit to wear after using that detergent.
Wow, great sharing there, Sidhvir. Thank you for sharing how detergent has evolved. One, and I think this particular detergent that you mentioned, I will do share like a link to a video or an article that you read, so that all of us, you can probably share it on chat if you have access to it now or later with me, and then I can share with everyone. Yeah, so
Yes,
that we
ma'am.
can
Ma'am,
read
I
them.
have a different class at 7:05.
Sure,
So can I
Sidhvir. We are
leave?
anyway wrapping up. So if you want to drop off, it's okay. We'll anyway wrap up in the next 3-4 minutes. And then we will see you next
Okay,
week
ma'am.
at the same time. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Thank you. All right. Okay. Daksh, you want to
Ma'am,
add
see you
some?
tomorrow.
Pardon?
See you tomorrow, ma'am.
The fact that detergents contain a lot of deadly chemicals as well when ingested can also cause a lot of health issues. And sometimes the people just throw out the detergent and some of the deadly chemicals still remain on the inside surface of the bottles, and that can affect the environment around it. Not to say that the bottles themselves are made out of plastic. So that's another downside of it, because that is just affecting the environment even more.
Yeah. Correct. Thank you for sharing that, Daksh. Mihir, do you want to add something to that?
So like detergent can also get inside our body, like because our skin also absorbs things, and it can be like also harmful for us.
All right. Yes, of course. Great. Thank you. Yes, Adi, go ahead.
Ma'am, so detergent is actually a need for us because like what else will we use to wash our clothes? So what can be a like replacement to this?
Absolutely. Great question. I was just coming to that anyway. So, as you said, it's a need right now. It's a necessity. We have to wash ourselves if you're using
Yeah.
soaps, if we have to wash our clothes, we have to have detergents, right? So, there is something known as green detergents. Again, would love for you to read about them. They're also based on the green chemistry principle on design for degradation, on how
Oh.
green detergents are biodegradable. Okay, so we're looking at, so all most of these in this particular picture, none of them are grain detergents, sadly. So most of the popular brands will not sell that, but uh, we are there are a lot of companies that are also looking at making a transition from toxic chemicals to safer chemicals. So looking at that transition, green detergents are being researched on and also being produced in like fairly less amount right now, but of course, in the process of being developed. All right. So would want you to really look up on that, and then we can probably discuss more on about it. All right. Okay. So yeah, here's what we will actually pause, and I'll just go back to the slide with all the green, all the 12 principles of green chemistry. And so we discussed a few safer chemicals, safer solvents, energy efficiency, design for degradation, prevention of waste. No, we didn't discuss prevention of waste. Less hazardous synthesis in some manner. Again, when we're using safer solvents, we're also, making sure that the synthesis does not cause much harm to the environment. You can go ahead and read up on the others as well. There are a lot of products which are currently under research, a lot of products which will be widely used as well, which use one or more than one principles of green chemistry. Okay. Okay, Ayana has asked a question. Why is it that almost all famous brands are not safe for a green product? Is it because the price? Yes, Anna, both actually. A non-green product might be faster and like quicker uh, as against a green product. Also, a green product, since it's not being produced in a very large amount, it's slightly more expensive. So both the things. Great that you've already identified both. Yeah. Yes, they can be less efficient sometimes. Yeah. Adi.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. I mean,
So
not all
that is why they are
products.
not that common.
Yes. So again, not all products would be less efficient, but then some may be less efficient. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what about green detergents? So they are less efficient and more costly. So that is why they are not common.
Yes. Yes. I mean, not as less efficient, but costly as of now, again, because not a lot of brands are producing it. Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. Yes,
Okay, ma'am.
Ayana.
Is it also because like we're just now starting to actually make like new like eco-friendly products?
Yes. So again, that's what, because there's limited research as of now. So we're also, it's making that transition is taking that much amount of time, right? So limited research. So because if you're researching, a research that we're looking at smaller quantities, but producing the same at a larger scale, a larger quantity, distributing it across the population is again something that would need a lot more investment. So that's something that green chemistry is lacking right now. All right. Okay. So here we will close, but before we actually uh, end this session, we have about 3 minutes left in the meeting. Uh, we will be doing a small activity in the next session, which we will be demonstrating. Um, so these are some of the materials that we would require where we're trying to make bioplastic. So making plastic at home. If you can take a screenshot of this slide, and or I'll actually put these in, like put the list in the chat box as well. And you can actually, if you get the time, get the materials. You can
Dilshin
arrange
ma'am,
this.
can I suggest you one thing?
Yes, ma'am.
So when is the next session?
Yeah, it's the next Friday.
Next Friday, right? What I suggest is, please just get the feedback of these kids on a Padlet.
Yes,
When recording, you should hand over to Naman and Satvik, so that this recording with the Padlet view on Carrier should once again go to all campuses, because it's such a nice session you and your kids have taken, and so informative.
Thank you.
So the children who are present here will write on Padlet their feedback and what more they want and what more want to improve. This is just a suggestion, because this was really hilarious, because being a physics person and I'm listening all this, and so much of interest I myself developed after attending this session. I'm sorry I joined.
So glad to know that, ma'am.
And so if you have to upload it as soon as possible, so that Monday onwards we start putting it on Steam Veracross also, that look, this has happened and we are looking forward. Okay?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. Thank you. All right. Okay. As ma'am shared, I don't have a Padlet link already, but I would really appreciate you to quickly, there's a 1.5 minutes left in the meeting, quickly, if you want to put some feedback for us or anything that you'd want us to do in the next session as well. Take down the materials and put quick feedback on whether you like the session, did not like the session, or anything interesting that you learned. You can put that on the chat and I'll paste it in the Padlet later. Yeah.
Also, ma'am, please take attendance, because kids will get certificate.
Yes, ma'am.
If they are doing all sessions of yours, they will get certificate also.
Yes, ma'am. I have taken the attendance. Okay. So, would really appreciate a quick word on the chat, or you can, if the meeting ends, you can put the feedback on email. Yes, Mihir, perfect. Yes.
Ma'am, should we rejoin after meeting ends?
Not really. Adi, you can put the feedback on the email. All right. So I'll close here, and you can put the feedback on the same email I sent you. Yes.
Okay, ma'am. It is about to end in this ceremony.
Yeah. Attendance are taken.
Okay.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Bye. Thank you.